so many people come with the assumption that Jesus is shallow. Oh, I've tried to solve my anxiety problem. I've looked up all the Bible verses on anxiety or something like that, but I still have anxiety. They don't understand the depths and the riches of what is really here.
God is either doing something in them or through them. The trials or the problems that they're facing right now are going to change their lives for the good. They begin to see that trial not as something to be angry about or to run from, that they're going to come out of that more like Jesus Christ, a better disciple, a better follower.
You're really talking about not a temporary solution, but a life change.
Right, and counselees that take that life change, they go back to their churches, they go back to the people in their lives, and they minister to them from what they have learned and God has taught them.
When I came to the Biblical Counseling Center, my life was a mess. And through biblical counseling, I was able to see practical solutions through the Word of God, through a caring counselor that have helped me to be able to help others in turn.
They come for counseling, become very passionate about what God has done in them, and now they want to allow Him to do through them the same kinds of changes in others.
When they look at the cross, they understand the gospel, they realize that Christ died for them, and they love Him, and out of a motivation of, if you love me, you'll obey me. It isn't just, hey counselor, obey this truth. There's that motivation of the gospel and the cross that we need to see that makes biblical counseling distinctive.
And a lot of people just talk about changing the behavior, whereas we talk a lot about how do we change their heart.
And it's a life-changing. That's the beauty of it.
It's not our victory, it's Christ's victory which frees us.
There's no transforming change like the change that happens through a relationship with Jesus Christ. And what we do as counselors is unashamedly point people to Jesus as the answer.
Our mission drives everything. Christ is in the center of our mission. We're convinced that our mission was given to us by the Lord, but it's to the local church.
We want the local church to be successful in taking back the challenge and opportunity of counseling their own people, the responsibility of that.
Every church should not have a counseling center. Every church should be a counseling center. And that's a ministry to the entire body of the church, a one-anothering ministry.
I think a lot of people hear counseling and they get anxious about counseling because I'm not a counselor. But I used to say this when I was serving with youth. The best counseling for youth happens at McDonald's over an ice cream sundae.
Yeah,
you know?
okay.
The context for counseling, it doesn't matter that it feel like formal counseling.
When we take our training to the local church, when we lay it out for them in the education process, people are no longer intimidated to get involved in the life of an individual because it takes away the fear.
They're also learning tools of how to do it.
As soon as I understood what the scriptures had to say about that issue, the fear left.
Well, that frankly is one of the benefits that I found personally going through the training. I started to understand what God had to say about anger and fear and a lot of other issues, and practically how to apply it, and I'm understanding that I fell short in a lot of areas that I frankly thought I was doing okay in. Now, the other benefit of that is that when they grow spiritually, they're more qualified and capable and competent to help others who need to grow spiritually.
When we think of Ephesians 4, it's the church building itself up in love, and that's what we're trying to accomplish through the training. When we have our courses laid out, a lot of people just see it as foundations, contemporary issues, marriage and family, advanced. What they need to be able to see is that it's not just a category.
All of these things are really interconnected. We may be talking about separate topics, but they do connect with each other.
How many of the foundational things are necessary for a counselor to understand, like guilt and forgiveness, how to deal with anger, how to deal with the depression that a child might be experiencing?
The foundations takes away the edge off the fear of counseling. When you take the edge off that, now they're even more equipped and more confident to go back and handle more of the difficult situations.
How many times has a pastor called and says, hey, I have somebody who attempted suicide, how can I deal with that? Or I've got somebody with an eating disorder, I've got somebody whose wife has been abused, or or their child's been sexually abused, or what's his ADHD and what's his bipolar stuff? Help me understand. What can I do?
There's nothing in the human condition that God doesn't know about and hasn't addressed in His Word.
Well, I would say that probably 50% or more of our counseling relates to marriage, family, parenting kind of issues. And our marriage and family course equips counselors to directly deal with those issues.
And when you move to the advanced seminar, you do with something like Victory Over Addictions, there are so many topics from the prior seminars that are really necessary to deal with the complexity of an addictive behavior, a worship disorder, as you mentioned, Don, and they have to really unpack and repack their lives through the direction of the Word and in the power of the Spirit.
Pastors are called to equip the saints for the work of the ministry, but that's part of what BCC does. We help them equip their saints.
Let me do some math for you. If you can teach a lay counselor to come in and counsel God's people at the church, and they took it on as their ministry to do 2 to 3 hours of counseling a week, and you had 10 counselors doing that, you'd have 30 hours that the pastor didn't have to counsel.
What started as just one guy on our staff has now really multiplied into a lay counseling team at our church, people who really are committed to making this the primary way in which they use their giftedness in the life of our church.
They counsel not on a counseling ministry, but they counsel right in the context where they already serve, whether it's men's ministry or women's ministry. They take on the responsibility of caring for that brother or sister who is hurting right where they are.
The local church is what Biblical Counseling Center is all about. Our mission statement drives everything we do at Biblical Counseling Center. We're there to equip the local church through counseling training, counseling resources, and counseling. And Pastor, we desire to come alongside of you, alongside of your church, to help you equip your people to do the intense personalized discipleship that we call counseling. So Pastor, in any way we can, to partner with you, that is the desire and the heartbeat of Biblical Counseling Center.